All right, Shalom. First and foremost, want to start out by giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Marakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of Well, peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so we're just going to go right into it. This is Psalms 5, and verse number 8. It says, lead me, O Yahweh, in thy righteousness before my enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. It says, for there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is their very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. It says, they flatter with their tongue. And there you go. Yes, how you have it. Esau, Edom, he flatters with his tongue. Right? This is you see what I'm saying? He's very wicked. This is the man of wickedness, the man of lawlessness. All right, verse number 10. It says, destroy thou them, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, let them fall by thy own counsels and cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions, for they have rebelled against thee. All right, you see. So these devils, right? They're gonna be vassals. All right. So furthermore, let's do this here. Right? Let's go into the word conspiracy. Right? So conspiracy, noun. It says a plotting of evil, unlawful design, a combination of persons for an evil purpose. From Anglo-French conspiracy, Old French conspiracy, it says conspiracy plot. From Latin conspiratium, right? It says it's okay right here, conspirito, right? Conspirito, right? Oreto. Right, it says agreement, union, right? Unanimity, right? It says noun, the action of past principles, stem of conspiry, right? To agree, unite, plot, literally to breathe together. And this is what we're telling you about. We're showing you these things in the scriptures, right? About the Edomites. Who? Esau, Edom. Starting with who? Give me Psalms 83. Right, Psalms 83, and we'll start at verse number 1. It says a song or a psalm of Asaph. It says, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. It says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Right, a tumult is an uproar. Right, see, coming up against. See, it says, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. Right, they became proud. It says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. So that's the Israelites, right? It says they said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent, meaning they came together with one agreement, right? They made a pact together. You see? That's what a consent, meaning one mind, one accord. Confederate, meaning come together, pact, make an agreement. And these are our enemies who came together, made that pact and agreement to how to destroy us and take away our names, take away our heritage, beat everything up out of us, right? Okay, to keep us down. You see? Right? It says the tabernacles of Edom. See that? Okay? The devil himself. Right? It says in the Ishmaelites, right, of Moab, right, so-called Chinese, and the Hagareans, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, the tiny tops, right, small hatters, right? It says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, and Ashur also is joined with them. It says they have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, all right? You see, so our enemies are the ones who coming up against us, right, and making these plots, right, coming together with these plots of what? Of New World Order, right? See, trying to stem back, going back to Genesis, trying to get their blessing back. You see, right? But there have been nothing but the wicked of the wicked in the earth, right? Nothing but the rape, rob, pillage, murder, destroy, destruction, right? See? Let's go here. Let's go here real quick. Let me get Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29 and verse number 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And as you can see, there's a lot of mourning going on. The people are bearing rule, there's mourning going on, right? Because we know the wicked is in power. Esau, Edom, right? You see? So these devils are in wicked, right? And they going around, and what they're doing, let me get this here in Psalms, the 37th chapter. Right? Psalms, the 37th chapter, and let's go down to the 35th verse. Right? I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. There you go. And that's what we do. We see him. He's in great power, spreading himself around. As you can see, the Venezuela thing going on, right? And then they're going to try to take their talents down into Iran. But we're going to see if they push that button. We're going to see if Esau is that brave. Right? You see, because we know this is all about prophecy. You see? And all these things is happening through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And there's no way that they're going to stop it because why? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai said this. Right? Nope. Let me get this here. Numbers 23. Always bring this scripture out because it's why it's true. You see? It says, this is Numbers 23 and 19. It says, Yahweh is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. He have said, and shall he not do it? Or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Right. Let me get Isaiah, right? Because I bring these scriptures out because there's a purpose. 55 and 11. Right? It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. See? So these prophecies and these things that are happening to stir up and all the commotions and the rumors of wars and things of this nature that Yahweh Shai spoke about, right, are happening because why? The devil is in power. The Esau Edom, the so-called white man, right? And his days are determined, right? Job 14 and 5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So this is the reason why he want to set up his technocratical, totalitarian, authoritarian government, right? His world of what you call interface UPC hooked up to a smart city, right? IOB, right? Internet of banking, IoT, Internet of Things, IOE, Internet of Everything, right? Hooked up to the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, the chip. You see, CBDC, Central Bank Digital Credits, right? These are the things that he's aiming for and goaling for, right? To henceforth move toward his blessing. These are the tiny tops. But who was speaking for the tiny tops? Nero 47, right? And his technocratical people who are set up with Palantir and Gideon and pre-crime and all these things of that nature through Google and so on and so forth, the AWS and extra, right? See? A lot of propaganda and gradualism and all these things like that on the news media and TV and setup and Mockingbird, right? Which Project Mockingbird. All right, which all these news medias are going to speak the same thing because of that's what that is, Project Mockingbird, right? It's showing you the things that are going on, right? Psyopses and many different other things and Freemasonry and rituals and so on and so forth. All right? You see? But all these things is taking place for a purpose. Why? Because the Most High is going to get ready to make... See, when Esau thinks he's getting ready to make his move, think he's going to eat and get his new world, his technocratical technocratical world set up, the Most High is going to collapse. He's going to destroy this place. Yahweh Shai going to come back. The angels are coming back. They're going to get busy. Your place going to be blown up, destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, right? By your constituents who you sitting there and you're boasting about. You're puffing at them, right? You're going in, you're robbing people, raping, stealing, taking resources, right? Hoarding everything into yourself, right? What you'll call a hostile takeover down in Venezuela, right? It was an operation thing, man. Okay? Then they boasted in front of China's face about their missile defense unit. Said their missile defense unit is weak. You see? This is the devil, right? So, because he's proud. See? Psalms 49 and 11. And the inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and that they should name their lands after their own, that they should name the lands after their own names. Right? Roughly paraphrasing. You see? So the man of lawlessness is on a prowl again, right? See? The ancient Roman pagan empire is right here. It's revitalized right back here in Babylon the Great, aka, see right here. This is it, right? But it's got all the other like gods and kingdoms and all the other things and worship and witchcraft and magi's and many different things based in this one system. Sodom and Gomorrah and Egypt and so on and so forth right here in Babylon the Great, right? And as you can see, the things that are going on, okay? Because this is all prophecy. But guess what? The kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is coming. You see? We're speaking the kingdom in. We're letting you know that this man's kingdom is going to fall. And that the kingdom to come is what? The divine kingdom, right? The tabernacles of David, the house of David, right? Yahushai going to be the top, right? The King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? You see? He had a name written on his that thigh that no man knew. But when we go in and break that down, we know what that means, right? I don't want to go into the scripture, but he knows that he's a superiority. See, okay, because power was given unto him on earth, in heaven and in earth. You see, all right. So let's continue on. Let's go back into here, right? Okay, so let's conspiree, right? It says to aspire and plan maliciously, right? Agree together to commit a criminal or reprehensible act, right? It says to agree, unite, plot, literally to breathe together for an assimilated form of con with together, right? See, conspiree, right? To breathe, spirit, right? Perhaps on a notion to agree. By spoken oath to commit a bad act, or perhaps the notion is to blow together musical instruments, i.e. to sound in unison, right? It says natural or good sense of to contribute jointly to certain result, right? Conspired or conspiring. There you go. All right, so let's go to the word theory. Okay, it says a conception or mental scheme. Right? It says from Greek thera, right? It says contemplation, speculation, looking at, viewing a sight or show. And this is what we have going on right here, because we see Esau Edom, right? We see Esau Edom, we see his show and his speculation, right? We see his contemplation. His contemplation is towards his new world order. His contemplation is towards, right, putting everybody under servitude, chipping them all, right? AI, technocratical, robotic world, okay? Right? Depopulation, keep the Georgia Guidestones, keep the population under 500 million people. You see? Okay? World Economic Forum, right? The World Health Organization, the CFR, right? And so on and so forth. Okay? All right? So let's go here to a few things here. Right? So in order to push these things off, see, let's go here, right? Let's go to here first. Let's go here, right? So I put this in here, right? Gradualism is the principle or policy of achieving a goal of significant change through slow, steady, incremental steps rather than sudden, drastic ones. It says often used in politics, social reform, or evaluation. It says where it can describe slow, continuous change over long periods, contrasting with rapid shifts like revaluation, right? Or punctuated equilibrium. In controlled context, gradualism can be deliberated tactic and induced unpopular changes subtly, right? It says making them seem less threatening, a strategy sometimes called what is that corrosive gradualism, right? Or corrosive gradualism. There you go. Or associated with slippery slope arguments, right? In politics and society, it says definition of policy or reform through small manageable changes opposing revolution, right? It says, example, social democrats seeking to achieve socialist goals incrementally, right? It says control aspect can be used manipulatively where the initial begging goal leads to larger hidden objective, e.g., delaying racial integration, right? It says in biology, evolution, it says definition, the theory that new species arise from slow, continuous accumulation of small genetic changes. It says over vast geological time. It says contrast. It says opposes punctured equilibrium, which suggests long periods of status, right? Of status interrupted by rapid change. It says in addiction treatment. It says definition, a harm reduction approach where clients reduce addictive behavior gradually, e.g. moderation. It says rather than intermediate achieving abstinence. There you go, Salakia. It says control aspect. It says opponents argue, right? It can be a tactic to avoid full commitment to abstinence while proponents see it as a political client-centered option, right? A practical client-centered option. All right. It says key takeaway for control. It says when used for control, gradualism is a strategic, right, method to implement significant shifts, political, social behavior by making them appear minor or acceptable at each step, masking the full extent of the transformation until it's already well underway. There you go. Right? You see? So now let's get this here. Right? Hold on. Let's get this here. Draconian. Salakia. What happened here? Right, so you got draconian, right? It says, and that's what they're going to push off, these draconian laws, right? Because that's what this man is, a serpent, a dragon. So guess what, right? The serpent is always going to come with cruel laws, right? That are passed through what? Through a back door, all right? Through their backdoor policies, right? Of setting up and breaking down the old ways, right? Like the Patriots Act, how that came in, right? You see, and so on and so forth, right? Which brought in what? The total information awareness program, right? Which came down to what? Palantir now. So as you got Gideon and all these other things of that nature, right? So draconian, it says a law of relating to or characteristic of Draco, right? Or Draco. It says, or the severe code of laws held to have been framed by him. Cruel, also severe, right? You see? Okay? All right, so let's go here. Let's go here, right? We're gonna get into this here chip. We're gonna read some scriptures, and we're gonna get into this here microchip, right? So we're gonna read some scriptures real quick. We're gonna get into this here microchip, right? So it says, let's go here. Let's go to Psalms. Go to Psalm 64. Psalm 64 and 8. It says Psalm 64 and 8. It says so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. There you go. Right? And that's what they're doing. They're making their tongue fall upon themselves. They're bringing out all the news on themselves, right? And they're speaking on themselves. This is nothing what you call a theory. See? They're showing you, right? But they're showing you the backdoor counsels behind the theory that they're putting out to the world to show, the speculation, right? You see? But only the men of the Lord can see the theories that they're putting out there, right? Only they can see the musical song that they're playing, right, on a left-hand side, because we have the right-hand side of the music of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Which is 100% truth, okay? All right? So let me get Isaiah, the 10th chapter. Isaiah 10, right? In verse number 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, right? And that's what they're doing. They're writing grievousness which they have prescribed, because this technocratical world that they're bringing in, right? This is a badge of servitude under that what RFID microchip, etching under the skin. You see, charagma, right? And that's what this is going to bring in. Okay, the new world order. All right, and so on and so forth. And these are the things that they're getting down to. So as we're seeing and revealing the man of lawlessness, you see what's going on and what he wants to set up, right? So let's go here. Let's go to Psalms. The Psalm, 10th chapter, the 3rd verse. It says, for the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetousness whom the Lord abhorreth, right? And blessed the covetousness of whom the Lord abhorreth. Now let's jump down to verse number 7. It says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity, right? You see? Verse number 9, it says, he lieth and waits secretly as a lion in his den, and he lieth and wait to catch the poor, and he doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. And there you go. And the net is going to be trapping people up with this microchip, RFID microchip, right? In many different forms of legislations and ways, right? Draconian laws. You see? It says he croucheth and he humbled himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. See? All right? All right, so let's go here real quick. Let's get out of there. And let's go here, right, to that chip. See, now this is the RFID microchip. Now, see, what I was going to show you in the article that I had, right, was about the biometrics, right? See, bio meaning the body, right? Metrics meaning the length or the study of the body. So, right, so they were showing this in Brooklyn, right? We're going to go into the article. So, see, this chip right here is going to be very important, because we're coming down to the time of this, right? So, 6G and all these things are going on, right? As you can see, they staged, and they Donald Trump and them, Nero 47, they sat there and they made a whole little stage, and they was talking about 6G and all these things. They got these things all in the works, ready to go. They even got a 7G, man. All right? They got a 7G, man. All right? These devils are planning on the 20. They think that their kingdom is going to continue on, man. That they're going to just keep everybody in subjection. They're going to destroy everybody. Yahweh Shai said there will be no one left to save. All right. So these devils have in their mind where they're going to take it super out, man. They're going to take it far out as possible. 7G, man. All right. That's even high up, man. Radiation, man. Okay. You see, man, just the bands and whips and things, and man, listen, man. All right, but anyway, I brought this out plenty of times. I'm gonna get back into another part of it, but it says, this device is an ill millimeters. It says long, about 1 millimeter in diameter, and comparable to a grain of rice. See, tissue binding cap, right? Bounding cap, you see. A cap made from special plastics covered with hormonally sealed glass, right? Capsule containing the RFID circularity, right? It says the plastic is designed to bound with human tissue and prevent the capsule from moving around once it has been implanted, right? Antenna, the coils of the antenna turn the the reader's varying magnet, right? Field into current power to power the chip. Right, the coil is coupled to the to the capacitor, right, to form the current that reunites to 134 kilohertz. All right, ID chipped. Right, it says the chip what modulates the amplitude of the current going through the antenna of the continuously repeat of the 128-bit signal. It says the bits are represented by a change in the amplitude. It says low to high and high to low. And any analyst by Jonathan Westis, right, of Cambridge, Massachusetts, right, indicated that only 32 of the bits varied between two varichips. It says the rest of the bits probably tell the reader when the loop starts and may also contain some error checking or correction data. Okay? All right? So now, like I do here, let's go down to here, right? As you can see, peace, justice, and strong institutions, right? Promote peaceful societies, inclusive institutions for sustainable development. It says only those with the RFID chip and digital ID passport with biometrics data and on a blockchain, right, can be a part of the peaceful society. Social credits will be used to get the population to obey the New World Order and push unwanted behavior. It says those who do not comply will be imprisoned or have all benefits on the blockchain turned off. 17, partnership for goals. It says strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize global partnership for sustainability. It says in order to implement all sustainable development goals, right, 17, right, and maintain global partnerships for the goals. It says a number of key technologies needed to further the push on societies such as the CBDC, central bank digital currencies, blockchain technology, CRISPR gene editing, right? Okay, eugenics, right? Depopulation, you see? Right? Okay? Vaccinations and so on and so forth, right? AI monitoring, right? Gideon Palantir, right? Total Information Awareness Program, right? It says sensors, right? AI, biometrics, facial recognition, cameras, right? Which is reading and checking your face out the whole time, scanning you. It doesn't matter if you have a mask on, it already knows what you look like. Okay, because it's been going on with 5G, 6G, high gamma radiation frequencies, right? Telewidths, gigahertz, and so on and so forth. Smart cities, right? Smart meaning surveillance, monitoring, analysis, report, tracking, right? Cities, right? RFID, the microchip, right? Which is the mark of the beast, right? IoT, Internet of Things, IOB, Internet of Banking, robotics, etc. to fully control the world. You see? Right? Okay? So let me get 2 Thessalonians real quick. 2 Thessalonians, right? 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, right? And let's go to the 3rd verse. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for the day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. It says, who imposeth and exalt himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. It says, remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And he's being revealed in his time right now. The skirt's being pulled up. Right? It says, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. The word Satan means Shaitan, which means adversary, against. Right? And Esau Edom is an adversary of the Most High, the adversary of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the Israelites. Right? It says, with all powers and signs and lying wonders. Okay? You see? So, let's go here real quick. Let's get out of there. Right? Let's go here. Okay? It says, signs at a New York City Wegmans stores say biometric data keep to increase security. Right? This is on ABC. Right? It says signs at a Brooklyn and Manhattan store say facial recognition, eye scans, and voice prints are kept to increase security. It says New York City WABC. It says there are new details on the Wegmans on what Wegmans does with the biometric data of shoppers. It says signs at the Brooklyn and Manhattan stores say facial recognition, eye scans, and voice prints. It says are kept to increase security. It says when Wegmans originally launched a pilot program, management said that the data of shoppers would be deleted. It says some customers complained that the policy makes them feel uneasy. It says legislation in the city council to block biometric storage has stalled for years. Okay, right, and that was the end of that article, right? So as you can see, the things that are going on, right? So the biometrics. So let's go here, right? Because this is what gradualism and things of that nature is going on, right? Revelation 13, and let's just jump right down to 16, right? Then we're going to end the video. All right? Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? And that mark is charagma, right? Which is an etching or a badge or a servitude, right? See? Etching under the skin, right? And that's what they've been talking about. That's what they've been boasting about, right? It says, in that no man might buy or sell. Buying and selling is transactional, right? Okay, transactional means a transaction means you have a buying, exchanging of selling for services and goods, for goods and services. All right, it says save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, right? Let him that haveth understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, the number of imperfection. You know, because once that tag goes up on you, right? That UPC, you are the tag, track, trace, and control, right? Okay, eyes on you at all times, right? You become that UPC. You become that central bank digital currency. You become off of frequencies and 6G and things in that nature, all right? Okay, so with that, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Marakar Kadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone of well, peace and blessings and salutation to the whole elect, and by Yah, Dawadah, thou said David. Shalom.